Oh, we on yet? I never know whether we're on because like I can't tell until like 20 seconds later whether we're on or not.
We're
But
always on.
Let's just assume we're on and say welcome, Yael. How are you, my dear?
Thank you. I am greater than great.
That's cool. I really like the topic that you have presented with me today and what we're going to talk about. Let me just get the phone in. So, guys, if you're watching live, we can see you, we can receive you, we can perceive you. We just don't want to be you. So, yeah, these Friday lives have been evolving really nicely because I like what I've started noticing when I talk to people about the topics, like the topics that they want to talk about. It's such a different energy that I actually have to start talking through them, basically what's going on in their life, right? Because one of the targets that I'm trying to create here, not trying to, but that I'm creating with this is really this no rules, total possibility platform for people. Because we really get stuck in this way that we have to talk and the way that we have to kind of be that people can receive the things that we work on and the things that we talk about and things that we do in the world, right? But I really want to change that. So having this conversation with you about, I forget it now. What is it?
Pushing yourself
off the edge. Yes.
Or would you rather have someone else do it for you?
And man, oh man, is that a raw energy? Because how many of us wait and we wait for the perfect moment. We wait for everything. We wait for the stars to be aligned so that we don't make a mistake or end up in a worse off position. But yes, so tell me from your perspective, what got you to look at this energy? Like, what is this for you?
First of all, regarding what you just said, so much has come up, not only in my life, but in others, about how much we not only wait for the stars to be aligned, we wait for our boss to fire us, our partner to go, all these outside situations to get us moving or to get us choosing or to get us motivating ourselves. And one of the energies that got me to look at this is with the whole demand of myself to step up, there has to be a different space of actualization, so things will actually find their place and actualize instead of during the years looking for some other circumstances to push me into choosing or into no choosing, so then I can do the step.
Yeah, well, what you've really said is quite interesting because actualization can never occur without choice. Right. And this is the thing that goes on. Most people are waiting for the right situations to unfold before they choose. And this is why a lot of people get stuck. And what ends up actually happening is when you're not choosing, your mind takes control more and more and more. And the only function of your mind is actually to paralyze you from choice. So the more you're not willing to choose, the more control your mind gets and the less choice you perceive. So really the only way to actually actualize is to push yourself off the edge.
The reason I'm laughing.
Yeah, go for it.
The reason I'm laughing is the very same choice I am making and creating now, which probably brought us also to this topic, was that a year ago I thought I was choosing to move to a new home, and then I got Bell's palsy, which is when half the face is paralyzed because I wasn't actually choosing.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that an amazing creation?
So I'm going to come back to you. I just want to let people know, please, guys, if you've got questions, we can see you on the live. We are a little bit delayed in terms of the system that we use. So ask your questions and we will get to them. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you hear this later and you're not on the live, you're more than welcome to still pop us questions, and we will come in and address them when we get to see them.
Actually, mine is not working. See?
Don't worry, I'm on. You have to be on my page. So for all y'all that are watching this that are not on my page, you just go and go and like my page. Come on, I'm likable in some way, please.
What? Must it be that I don't like your page?
I want to really address this because this is an absolutely wonderful example of what occurs when you don't choose. And we've never been taught to have choice. Okay. We have actually been educated and trained to have answers, be given the answers, and only seek the right answers. And once you find the answer, then you are good, perfect, correct, and right. But that is not choice. That is just complete limitation. And exactly what you said, the more you don't choose, the more stressful it becomes, the more your body is going to give you signs of support, actually, and encouragement to say, hey, Yael, you kind of need to do something different here. But we don't really see our body as a unit of awareness. A lot of people just see it as, how do I explain it? Like, one of my most favorite ways of explaining people's realities and bodies is it's a flesh prison. People are stuck in this fleshy thing and can't seem to get out of it, But along with choice is very much including your body, and your body is one of your greatest tools to give you information on what is working, what's not going to work, and what can work. Through pain, it comes across as pain, disease, which is purely dis-ease. And if you look at that, how much dis-ease, no ease did you have in your life when you paralyzed yourself with no choice?
Definitely.
Yeah. So we have all this information available to us. My question is, what are you waiting for? And I'm asking people out there, and this is a question you can probably ask yourself. Who or what are you waiting for to push you off the edge so that you don't have to choose? Because if you chose, you might be wrong one day. Right? So everything that is, I will highly recommend you guys destroy and uncreate whatever energies and intensities that brought up for you all. Okay. Because that was a bit of a strong one.
Yes.
But do ask that question. So tell me more about what got you to actually get to that space and say, look, I have to push myself off the edge and not wait for someone else to push me off the edge.
I think there comes a time where we're so used to getting pushed off the edge or somewhere almost desiring to get pushed off the cliff so that we won't have any choice, and then we'll have to show our capacities and abilities. And I'm sure most of us have experienced it, where there's these certain times in our life that we know that it's like jump or die, literally. It's now or never.
Yeah.
Otherwise we give ourselves up. And I guess the choices I made until now and the build up to that was, okay, now is the time. And giving that up or delaying that is not a possibility, and it's like lying to myself. One step further.
Yeah. Well, one of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that our choices are going to fail. And it's actually never the case. You can choose things to create destruction in your life, right? But that in itself is not a failure. That is you choosing destruction. So you're actually winning based on your choices. And you said something earlier, which actually just opened up something, but then I got distracted by myself telling people that Coca-Cola is not a sponsor.
About the Bell's palsy?
Yeah. No, yeah. Well, no, it was something. It was something around the choices, but anyway, I've completely distracted myself, so it's all good. This happens when you're a little bit of ADHD, or a lot.
So let me add something.
Yeah, great.
So last night I lay in bed and I was asking myself, okay, are you willing to push yourself off the edge? And then I got a yes. And then the other part of it is, would I rather have someone do it for me? And for those 10 seconds, it was like looking from my old reality and actually judging it, or what does it mean? Or does it mean I'm lazy? And all that pile of shit. And suddenly it shifted actually to one of the things you were speaking about on one of the calls, who knows which, about there are things that we can choose that to receive the contribution from other people in the way that we'd rather not do it, but it's also we don't have to do it alone and not from a space of judging.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, because what you're saying there, it's kind of like a sort of opposite of what you're saying with regards to pushing yourself off the edge, but you don't have to do it alone. And because, are you waiting for someone else to do it for you? But this is a very different conversation, because when you're willing to actually jump off the edge and receive, right, you're going to have the support of everything and everyone, including the absolute gifting of what the universe has to offer you, right? So you never are alone. But it doesn't mean that you have to wait for people to come along and get you to the point where you end up having to choose. Because if you're waiting to have to choose, it's going to be put into a way that you're not going to enjoy, and it's not going to be fun for you, right? So it's really, what kindness can you be for yourself to actually just choose every day? And the hardest part, right, is submitting to receiving the possibilities and the contribution, and giving up into that. That's really the part that I think most people kind of get frozen on the edge. They're kind of like, oh, fuck, now what am I going to do? Yeah.
And also trusting. One of the things you said before, which I also don't know how exactly you phrased it. So it's about how much we get stuck on how it's going to happen. And one of the questions my mom used to ask me about this very subject is how are you going to move? But what will you do? So with what you're saying now is fuck the how, and also trusting ourselves that once we choose, we will create it, we will generate it, it will unfold, and
Yeah. Wow. Well, and this is the thing, that I personally am starting to see in the world, that we are now at a time where we don't have any other choice really, other than to trust ourselves and to move and not wait, because it hasn't worked doing it the other way. We just keep on creating the suffering, the non-ease, the non-joy, and the gory, instead of the ease, joy, and glory, which is available in everything we do. But it's quite interesting, because the energy of this conversation is quite it's rather intense, and there's a lot going on with this. So how many of you are looking for the answer, looking to get it correct before you actually are willing to choose? And what if you could honor yourself by allowing yourself just to jump off, just for the fun of it, and seeing where you land, if you land? Because 99% what actually goes on is when you're willing to push yourself off the edge, you're the one that ends up flying and everyone ends up staying behind. So actually, the reality is, how many of you are waiting for people to push you off the edge so that they can come with you? One of the greatest things we've got to realize is that no one is going to come with us. All right. If we don't jump, no one's going to jump. And what really goes on is you will actually end up dying and killing yourself in some form or the other, be it boredom, be it depression, be it judgment of yourself, wrongness of yourself, be it disease, whatever it may be. If you are not willing to actually honor yourself by knowing that whatever you choose, the world, the universe, and yourself has got your back, and you will fucking fly. But you really, really, really have to choose it, though. You know what I mean?
Brought up two things for me. One is how much do we not choose or not jump off based on other people's projections on us that we've bought as ours, totally, believing it for years. And the second part is, I don't know if it's if you have that in English, but in Hebrew there's a saying, something like, if everyone will jump off the roof, will you? Or something like that. So so that brought up for me stuff about being a leader. Oh my God, if I jump off, what am I going to kill other people? Get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. So it's a good energy. And I'm really loving the energy of this conversation because it's really weird. It's like, what's going on? The thing is, right, the thing that's going to die when you push yourself off the edge, it's not you or your body. It's not other people. It's your limitations. And that's the thing that we hold on to the most because it's our comfort zone. It's our space that we think if we lose it, we're not going to know who we are. We're not going to know what we be. But it's actually the reality of a whole new way of living if you're willing to live on the edge and jump off every 10 seconds. A little bit of fun, right? So what I want to do is I want to go to some of the questions. But before I do that, do you have anything else that you want to add? And ask your internet to be nicer because it's playing games with us.
Oh, mine. Actually, my computer is pushing me off the cliff. And I have to get a charger.
Do it.
Okay.
Go get a charger and I will answer some questions. How's that? So let's go here. So the body's natural state is ease. Well, the reality is your body is actually not solid. And we have got definitions of our body that allow it to be solid. So the more you allow your body to be, how can I say, not so full of solidity, which is judgments, definitions, conclusions, and all that kind of stuff. Yes, your body will be a lot more ease, and it will have the space to allow it to be whatever shape, form, creation, that it chooses to be, which will be something greater than you could actually imagine beyond what we've been entrained for our bodies to be. So I hope that answered what you were asking there. So I'll give this one to you, Yael. Do we use our bodies to push us off the edge by not choosing?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Has my internet gone now? Yeah, go for it.
Do we use our bodies
or internet?
Well,
to push us off the edge by not choosing?
I think or do we push our bodies off the edge by not choosing? What are we doing to our bodies, and how much of the gift that our body is to us are we destroying and eliminating by not jumping off the edge? It's like we pushing our bodies off the edge.
Yeah, and well, when you don't choose, you don't create, and when you don't create, you die, and that death is in many forms, right? And what actually your body is actually doing, it's not that you use your bodies to push you off the edge by not choosing, it's that your body is showing you what you're actually choosing that is not working. It is giving you information to say, hey, whatever you're doing right now is not working. Can you change it, please? And the more you don't listen to that, the more you're not in question with that, the stronger it's going to get. Until, like you said, you get to a point where you don't have any other choice but to choose to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think
so Flavor Flav says it's weird, but sometimes go for it. Sorry, go for it. You go for it. Yeah.
I'm saying there's a difference in what we perceive the energy to be between like jumping off the cliff. Okay, we did. Then the edge, like the edge of consciousness, of leadership. The edge, it's different. Yeah. So what edge do we want to be on?
It is different, and well, what you really the thing is, what is actually available to you is the energy of risk. Now, the energy of risk is actually one of the ultimate sources of creation. Okay, but what's happened in this reality is we've been educated to rationalize risk. And the only thing that comes from rationality is fear. Okay, so, and fear is designed to cover up every area of your life and living that you can expand on, exponentialize on, and become greater in. So what if you didn't rationalize your risk? What if you started asking, what irrational choice can I have here? And what can I choose from the rational space that will actually allow me to create my life and my living greater than I've ever imagined? Because that risk energy is actually that energy of knowing that you're on the edge of possibility. The thing is, if you try and rationalize it to decide whether you're making the right or wrong choice, all you're doing is stopping yourself from choosing, and you're just going back into the loop of non-creation. Yeah. So everything that brought up, y'all beautiful people, destroy and uncreated. All right. It's intense. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, while we're here,
we have a slight delay between you and me. Yeah, carry on.
Expand out. Let's all expand out.
Yeah. So, do you have anything to add to that, or should I go to the next question?
Next question.
Woohoo! Okay, so it's weird, but sometimes it looks like I am waiting for me. Oh my gosh, yes. Aren't we always just waiting for us to arrive? And it's quite interesting that the concept in its own that you're waiting for you is one of the greatest indicators to show you that you actually have separated yourself from your life and your living. Okay, because you can't wait for you because you are everywhere. You know, you kind of go with you everywhere you go, you know, and everywhere you be. And again, a part of this, a part of expanding who you are as a being, as a person, and finding out how great you can actually be is by pushing yourself off the edge. Because you'll only know what you're capable of once you know what you're capable of. If you're willing to push yourself off the edge to know what you're capable of, you know? So everything that is, yeah. So, yeah, it's this beautiful space of just being willing to. This is the interesting thing: is being willing to lose everything and everyone, right, including yourself, but from this reality, and stepping into a much greater reality from what you know is possible, from your awareness, from your knowing, from your capacities, from your possibility and potency. And that comes from, okay, let me get it wrong. If I push myself off the edge here and it all goes down in a fucking ball of flame, cool, now I know. Which is a lot more empowering than, what if I get it wrong? I can't choose.
And another part of it is if we weren't waiting for us, because I would put a question mark there and ask, okay, are you really waiting for you, or are you here already? And looking at, okay, yeah. One of the great questions that Dr. Dan here spoke about 2 years ago, he actually asked me, I think, how much am I committed to my life? And the answer was not pretty. So are we willing to look at that and then expand it?
Sorry, I hope that the noise outside is not coming through on the thing. They're doing renovations over here. Yeah, and that's a brilliant question, because we've never been asked to commit to our life. We've been asked to commit to things outside of us, be it religion, be it education, be it authority, be it a point of view. But have you ever really been asked, are you willing to commit to your life and your living? You know, no one's ever asked us that. So what choices are available to you that will show up with total ease if you actually chose to commit to your life and living? Yeah. And get it wrong while you do it. That's also okay, you know?
And also really, truly acknowledge, be it 20%, less than 30, 50, 70%, what is that energy in these 10 seconds, so that you can acknowledge it and change it afterwards. Not afterwards, and change it.
Yeah, and I love what you brought up there, because actually, you know, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, and I did a call recently, the good, the bad, and the ugly of you, where every part of you is a possibility, right? Because we go so often into the wrongness. Like when you ask a question and you're using your awareness, and I'm just putting it in the way for people, you know, for people who haven't actually experienced the tools of access. So when you ask yourself, your being, a question, it's not to get an answer, it's to get an awareness, right? When you get the awareness, okay, so how much of my life am I actually committed to? And you get like 3%, 1%, 20%, 300%. What if you didn't go into the wrongness of, oh shit, I'm only 10% committed to my life? What if you went into, well, if I've created what I've created, being 10% committed to my life, what can I create being committed 20%, 30%, 100%? And that's the energy of generation that you can get into, that can start to really actualize a different reality for you. But you got to get out of the wrongness of you, people. Okay. Cool. So, anything else that you would like to share with us on? Actually, I've got a different thing that I'm going to ask, and then we're going to go there. But the way that you brought up this energy on this topic, I really enjoyed, because you asked me, have you ever been pushed out of a plane? Or you said, have you ever jumped out of a plane? And I said, no, not yet. And you said, well, it's brilliant. You should try it. But the interesting thing is you have to wait for someone to push you out because you're actually too scared to jump out, right? And that's where this was like, oh shit. Are you actually willing to push yourself out of the plane yourself? Or are you waiting for someone to push you? Because that's the same energy, right? It's the exact same energy that we go into with big choices, like that there's potential death at the end of it, right? What if you just for 10 seconds, when you look at your big choices, took death out of the picture, what would you be? What would you do? What would you choose?
And also survival.
And everything that is. Yeah. Go for it.
I'm saying also survival, like even if it's not death, or looking at what's happening in Israel, a lot of the big volunteering and changing of different things and that have come up nowish in Israel, it's like how much does someone need to, it could be death also, but it's until it starts risking their survival or their life, speaking of death, then let's take action.
Correct. Yeah. So how many of you, and here's a nice question, how many of you are trying to master the art of survival that actually never allows you to live? Alrighty, so everything that is destroying uncreated, these beautiful people. And what I mean by destroying uncreated is just simply let go of the energy. And everything that kind of question brings up for you, all the crazy thoughts, all the energies, all the judgments, the projections, all that shit, just let it dissipate out of your world. Because you can have a different reality. Yeah, and it's great, and also, how much have we been taught that survival is actually the only way of living, and that's actually all we got to have on this planet. If you're surviving, you're actually winning. Your head's just far enough out of the shit, and that's okay.
Oh, lovely. And another thing, how much are we trying to fix and solve and fix the way to the edge instead of just jumping off? Like, what's here? All the playing with the shit instead of walking over it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. I love this conversation. We can talk about this forever and ever and ever. It's a really good conversation. But essentially, what we're really getting to is to start asking yourself, what can you actually just choose that will empower you instead of paralyze you? And really look at, where are you waiting for people to join you? Where are you waiting for someone to make a choice for you? You mentioned it. I don't know if you mentioned it in this conversation or in our last conversation, ADHD brain. But you said also in relationships, we do that, where we're waiting for people to choose. We do it in businesses. I've seen it so often where businesses create an environment that only one person has the final decision. And then everyone gets paralyzed along the chain because they're all waiting for this one person to choose. And it delays the whole creation. It delays the speed that actually we can actually function at. And anywhere and everywhere that you're waiting, you are slowing yourself down. When you slow yourself down, you actually solidify your reality. And the more you solidify your reality, the more the shit of this reality, the judgments, the wrongness, the projections, the expectations, the fear becomes palpable, tangible, and real and locked into the body. So what can you choose today that will actually speed you and your life up, that you function so fast you cannot hear the judgments, you cannot see the judgments, and you live a life different to the rest of the world? Because it's very possible.
Totally.
And destroy and uncreate all that.
Speaking of the good, bad, and ugly call, we spoke about one thing we touched on was the slowness or being the fast. How do you say speed of space?
Yeah. Speed of space. Yeah.
Speed of space. So it was amazing a day afterwards, and if we be the speed of space we are, how much will our body go with us into and to and embodying the knowing we actually be?
Yeah.
Because then we don't get sidetracked.
Yeah. And I love that, because actually, what that really just pinged in my world is how many definitions do we have of what our bodies are, what they're capable of, what they're here to do, what we think they can do or can't do. Like, what if there's a total different reality with your body? And it's very, very relevant to what we're talking about, as you mentioned, because, you got into that space where you weren't choosing and your body showed you more and more. Listen, Yael, something else is possible here. So guys, really look at what conclusions do you have about your body, and what judgments do you have about how weird your thoughts and your points of views are when you actually start looking at what different reality and possibilities there are with the body, because it's rather special, and it's really it is a part of our journey and going to getting to be what we know is possible for us and the planet. Our bodies are required. It's kind of what gets us around, Yeah. Cool. So any last questions or any last things you want to look at or talk about?
Well, one of the things when you were speaking now is, for those of you watching us, I know I used to be like that, to dare to actually perceive the energy, even if we don't tell anyone, just for us, just for fun, to perceive the energy of what it would be like to leap, to jump, or what would we like to jump to, like to dare look at that, because sometimes we don't even dare to ask or imagine or fantasize about it.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. So, Yael, great conversation, super intense. I mean, we can talk, like I said, this can become a one-day class. It's beautiful. And thank you for bringing this energy to the world. It really is. It's required, for people to see what gets created when they don't choose and they wait for other people. So thank you very much. And if anyone would like to connect with you, because I know you are an Access Consciousness certified facilitator of possibility.
True.
And you do many other things like translation and all kinds of wonderful stuff. So if they'd like to connect with you, how do they do that?
They do that by Facebook, Yael Solomon, email. I'll post it. Psychic abilities.
Yeah. Connect with me through the psychic.
No, connect with me physically.
Yeah, that's cool.
Also, thank you so much, Graeme, for fine-tuning and being the space to make this possible.
Yeah, wonderful.
I really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you, beautiful people. And thank you to all of those who are watching and will be watching. Like I said, send us in your questions, connect with us.
Or join us for today's the elements of creation. With
creation.
him.
Yeah,
It's with him.
with me. Elements of Creation currently happening on channel. I don't know what channel we're on, but find it. It's cool.
A secret channel.
Yeah. All right, Yael. Have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom. It's Friday. Bye.
Shabbat shalom. We have to pretend to be still now while Mike turns us off the live stream.
Okay.
It doesn't work very well because I never know how long it takes him to turn it off. You see what I mean?